Good morning, everybody. Happy Thursday. Only 2 more days left in the week. Are they going to give back all the gains again today, Tracker? What's going on?
I have no idea. Well, what I do know is that the VIX has been just very, steadfastly staying inside this channel that I've drawn. I'll show that after Matt does the indices. But
Okay.
go ahead, Matt, take us out.
Yeah, so we'll start a little bit early today because why not? And we'll just take a look here at the SPY and just see that what happened yesterday was essentially price opened a daily candle underneath the conversion line for the first time, which kind of caused it to go back towards the baseline. So I think we're just in that range, right? We're in between that range, and we're probably going to get closer and closer to the cloud over here. So I don't think we're ready to break that 648 just yet. So probably just trending sideways to maybe a little bit down. Maybe even the 50-day moving average could be a target there at 623 before going higher. So because of yesterday's recovery, it still can go back down to the baseline since it's never touched it or lower. So this is kind of why we're seeing price is basically range bound for now. So anywhere from 630s down to 620s could be the short-term target. QQQ also had a daily candle close below the baseline again. So that could lead to the 50-day moving average below, maybe 556. Maybe the cloud below to 551 in that zone. We'll find out, right? So I think it's just not ready to break that 578 yet. So sideways to down still before going higher. And IWM, we can see that this also got back below that 786 right there, the 226.80. But I think the important thing on this one is essentially on log scale, still maintaining that 786, the 223.84. So if it can continue to stabilize above there, it might not need to go any lower down towards the baseline 221 or 219 or so. I mean, it still is possible to go touch the cloud since it really hasn't touched it since back in May. So that is a possibility. But I think this is looking like, to me, it's building a base at a higher level than it's been before, because before it was acting as a major resistance and now it's basically acting as a major support. So it looks pretty healthy to me. And we can take a look here at Tesla as well. Any change from yesterday? No, there's no change at all. We can go to the linear scale. Tesla, just to see that, what did price do? Well, it wicked right through the 321.32, went to the 50-week moving average again, and close to the bottom of the cloud. So it nailed a couple of support levels on the way down, which is fine because sometimes it needs to get that liquidity below before continuing higher. And we've seen that basically every single week, except for basically last week. There was really no retest of any support last week, just a retest of resistance. So it's kind of obvious if we get rejected at resistance, we're probably going to go back to retest support. So that's exactly what Tesla is doing, but nothing has changed on the high time frame. Still a very bullish chart, establishing a base at a higher level than before. And that's basically a nice development for Tesla. There's no change. Even that wick yesterday, there's no change at all. And Bitcoin, we can take a look here at what's going on, and it's still trying to maintain that arc, but it's not being successful right now. So we can just look at the Ichimoku and just see, hey, there it is, 112, 111. Did it hit that yesterday? No, it hit 112.353. So it still could go back down there, even get some liquidity below, maybe to the bottom arc around the 109, 110. So I don't think this consolidation is over yet, since it did miss that conversion line a little bit. I think it still wants to go touch it or wick through it first before we continue that journey higher. Let's switch over to you, Tracker.
All right. I'm going to show I just want to show the SPX chart here again. And you can really see just how asymptotically price is approaching my target of this is SPX, so it's 6,666.66, goes right to there, which is really just about 4% higher from where price is right now. The market is just squeezing all the juice it can out of this slow asymptotic move towards my 666 target on the SPY. And you can see the same thing on the VIX. It's just really, you draw this channel from this high through this wick and this wick for the resistance trend on the top, The support trend in the bottom just kind of goes through all of this mess that we've had ever since May 14th through now. And it's in this tight little descending channel here. We're here now. It looks like getting real close to this to try to figure out what's going on the rest of today and the week. It's just over my moving average 75. It might get trapped between the 300 and the 75 here. So you could see maybe some more VIX going up and more selling off, unless it can get underneath VIX 1613 at the open, and then maybe we could see it come down on this side. So just the center point is just a little lower at 1609. Higher than 1609, then maybe it runs up to about 17.7. Lower than that, and it could easily come back down to the take profits line again, 1471. So I'll keep an eye on that. I don't have anything else to talk about to add. Oh, I do want to show about Palantir. I can't remember if I showed this chart on this show, but I definitely said this to my subscribers that I thought $143 would be an exciting possibility. And I drew this 3-4 when we were still up here. So this week it did run down right to this 50% level, halfway between the 190 top and this wick right here of the 105.32 bottom. Came right to the halfway point just about now. If you look at it on this log scale chart with the Ichimoku conversion line and baseline, you can see it's sort of trapped under the conversion line, which means it could revisit it again. You could see it bounce between the conversion line and baseline. So it could hit one more time. It could even go lower. Doesn't have to. Or it could just stay above this 141.46 level, wait long enough for the baseline to catch up, and then create the support tighter underneath. Anyway, that's just something I wanted to point out about Palantir. This is, I think, a good opportunity to, add more Palantir if you don't have it or don't have enough already. I do have one request set up already. This ODL from it's in the Oslo Stock Exchange. From this all-time high to this all-time low, it kind of went, it teased with the 886 back here in 2018, 2019, ran all the way back down to the 2236 is what this actually is. Let me just change this actually to this one. Whoops, don't move it. Yeah, the 214 is still what I call it there. But yeah, it's pretty much at resistance again. Is the short of it. It had this nice run where it did test back to the 886 right here, and then broke through the all-time high, made a higher high and a higher low and a higher high. But I'd say $83.20 is likely going to be resistance. I think it almost already touched it, just like, wait, maybe I should look at the 16-hour chart. It hasn't quite touched it just yet, but it could go to 83.20 and then look for a mean reversion back to probably this wick down here. So let's say it does touch that and then comes back down to here. Look for a mean reversion to about 62.80, or maybe halfway to the halfway point, which would be the 702 at $70.10. Maybe, or I'm sorry, that's in Norwegian kroners. Let me just do this. Maybe this, and then possibly this. There you go. That's one way to look at it. All right, I'm gonna send it back to Matt now. That's all I've got to say about ODJ.
All right. Yeah, I'll do Open Technologies, Opendoor Technologies. I'll let you do SBET and BMR since
I will.
Since they're just too volatile. I do it on my Patreon all the time with the lower time frames, but for this show, I think it's better that Tracker does those ones. We can see that for Opendoor, it went to the 200-week moving average again. It got rejected again. It went to the 236 fib up here, which is the 356, is also getting rejected. So I think I mentioned this before, cautious at resistance, more bullish at support. And yeah, it's just range bound. So we're just going to see maybe the 382, 275, 356, maybe stuck in that range until it's able to break out. So it has to give me confirmation it wants to break that zone. And so far there is none except for giant wicks. So patience with that. And it's range bound still. We can look at some other ones. I was going to do a couple of crypto, then I'll pass it back to you. We'll do SEI and XRP and LTC and all that stuff. So SEI crypto, what do we see? It's trying to stabilize above the conversion line right now. That's at 29.2, but we also got the 236 fib at 30 cents. There's really no change. It's just trying to flip this zone to a support right now. It is kind of succeeding, really, because it looks to me that it's really spending more time on top of that 30-cent zone than below it. So I think if we can get more weekly candles to close above that 30-cent zone, then we're probably going to continue to build that base and then eventually enter that cloud and then go up towards the 40-cent zone. So it is looking like it wants to get more and more bullish, but it's going to take more patience and time, just like everything else, which everybody hates. Everybody hates patience. Nobody wants to wait. They want now.
I want everything now.
Yeah. And here's Litecoin. So Litecoin went straight up to the 618, the 125.93. Got rejected there. The ARC, the blue level, got rejected. So it did try to flip it to a support, but it's just too much resistance up top. So it's not able to break free of the ARC or the 125.93. So a back test, perhaps even of the cloud, is possible. Maybe 107, 106 of that zone before continuation higher. But this is a good breakout. It had a breakout back on July 14th. So nothing bad about that. And all we're looking for now is stability in this zone. Anywhere in this zone is fine. Even into the cloud would be fine too. But it's just probably going to need more time to break out. Just another example of more patience, right? It's a very nice development, but it's not ready to break out yet. And that leads me to XRP. What's happening there? Well, not much really. So the high time frame still is trying to get back above that 309.986, but it's going back to the conversion line. Did it touch it yesterday, though? I think it fell a little bit short. Yeah, it went down to 281.849, and it's 281.443. So could it go back down there again and wick through there one more time? Sure, it could, all right, just to make you angry. But bullish development, right? It broke out. It back tested it once, maybe back tested it another time or two until it's ready to go higher. But this is a good development, right? It broke out, and now it's building a foundation at a higher level. The highest level it's really been at before. We haven't really seen over a month in this zone, right? We never really seen a month in that zone. We've seen a few weeks in that zone, but never like over a month. Maybe it's time to just have a little bit more patience before it's ready to continue that journey higher. But nice development overall in crypto. There's nothing really scary happening. And if Bitcoin does want to go back down to some levels, then it'll take the rest of the market with it for a temporary period of time, but that is not a bearish development. All of this is very, very bullish. All right, Tracker, back to you.
Thanks. I just want to show my open chart on the 16-hour time frame. I see a bullish cross about to happen between my moving average 75 and the moving average 300, which supported this cup right here. And I think it, the thing I'd love to see is for this to make a handle like I've got drawn here, maybe even a higher handle or a series of handles, right, that just go higher and higher back towards 611. The scary thing that can happen, though, sometimes when a cross is about to happen, price will just suddenly dive down towards it. So just look out for that as well. You'll know it's taking a dive if price on open goes below $2.91. But if it just approaches it quietly and slowly and giving this time to come up, then I think we're fine. But yeah, that's all I want to say about open. And then the SBET is next. On my 16-hour chart, SBET already had the bullish cross of the moving average 75 through my moving average 300. And you can see it came down there. You can see, just like I said, sometimes it's really scary. Just as they're about to cross, well, this one was a little delayed. Like after the cross, it ran down there. But then it tested the support of the moving average 300, found it. And now the 75 is lifting it up and away. It's right now it's battling below the 75 again, but I think it could just get back on top of it. Let's see. I guess what should happen is should test it again, about $20.79. If it can get through this moving average 75 on the 16-hour chart, then it should flip it to support and keep going up. If it tests to it and finds it as resistance, then it might test the 1663 lower pivot here at 214. And if it loses that, then it will come back to 300 again. But I'm optimistic. I see it wanting, maybe I should just do the VRVP again. Yeah, the control point for all of this action, the point of control is right here, up here at 2487-ish. So that's where price wants to go, back to the point of control. Yeah, bullish on SBET from here. Let's see what else. And obviously, I should say, not obviously, but, eventually this goes from a type D stock below the lower pivot to a type B stock if it can start being between the $36 and, well, $240. That's what I'm looking for, is for it to head back towards the halfway center pivot point. All right, that's the big payoff, what I'm looking for. BM&R. And then I'll do one more after BM&R and I'll pass it back to Matt. Bitmine, it's already, again, had the bullish cross on the 60-hour chart of the moving average 75, the thicker orange line, through my moving average 300. It did not dive all the way down to there to test the 300. It's being patient, waiting for the 75 to catch up to it. Here is the point of control. It's slightly lower than where price is right now. That could mean, you can see I've got the price maybe dipping back down to that POC. That's also right at the center pivot. $41.18 is the halfway point between the all-time low and its all-time high. So, yeah, look for it easily to test that one more time, and then start to bring its way back up over the top of this cloud, which is it's right at the 618. All right, there you go. That's Bitminer. I'm bullish on that as well. I said I'd do one more and then give it back to Matt. I'll do a CLSK, which I feel like we did every day for the last week or so, but that's fine. I don't mind talking about CLSK. Clean Spark is a type B stock, and it is becoming a type A stock as soon as it gets over this halfway point, this 50% level right here at, let me turn this back on. $12.07 is the center pivot between its all-time high and its all-time low. And it's been in this triangle, this big triangle shape for the longest time. It really filled out this triangle, got over the top of it, and has been sort of following it down for the longest time, which makes it look like, to me, a bullish wedge down, kind of. So eventually it should get over the 618 and then start looking towards 886. And all that price action is really good. From $9.13 to the 618, that's 136% higher. To the 886 is 819% higher. So there's your opportunity with Clean Spark. It just might take a while to get there. Back to you, Matt.
Yeah, I'll do a couple of those too. I see Iron and Cypher. So Iron chart, it's still trying to maintain this 1935, the 886. It is a little bit below at pre-market. It did go down quite a bit yesterday, but it recovered nicely. So we'll keep on watching that as a potential for stability for the rest of the week, and maybe even a weekly candle close above it tomorrow. So let's just keep watching that 1935 for a potential support. And Cypher, we're going to watch basically the cloud, right? Any kind of building a base momentum on top of the cloud, on top of that 702 fib right there, 512 or the 530 zone. So that is the acceptable range for continuation higher. And I think it can do that, right? It's a nice breakout, rejection up here at the 786, back test of the 50-week moving average. So now it's just consolidation time above that 530, maybe 512 level until it's ready to continue that journey higher. And lastly, let's do OPFI. Let's see. This one's going for a back test of the 886 and the 954 50-week moving average right now. So that's kind of the important thing to really watch if we were going to see more stability to continue higher. And this is the fib from the previous high back in 2021 and the low down here. So it's really important, right? If we're going to see continuation higher, I think this zone really needs to hold, because it already lost the cloud as a support. So if it loses this 886 as support, then it's probably going to go for a deeper back test, maybe down to the 769. So it's really important to watch this 932, 954 zone in an attempt to stabilize. And if successful, it can easily continue its journey back higher towards the 1150s, 1160s, and above. And Tracker, back to you.
All right, thanks. I've got GameSquare holdings here. This is kind of interesting. I mean, obviously, retail is trading the hell out of it, and the institutional buyers haven't really been a large part of this yet. Let's hide this away. I want to show you that the point of control is up here at about 164 from the visible range volume profile. That's the entire history. These are weekly candlesticks. I'm going to turn that point of control off now. We're way down here. We're way far from the point of control at 77 cents. And turn that off. And I want to show you that I drew this. Let me turn off the Ichimoku again for a second, too. I drew this fib channel. This is a logarithmic scale chart. And I picked these two high points and then pulled all the way down to this lowest point. This is the lowest we've had. And you can kind of see these channels kind of want to go in this way. After hitting the all-time low, and it started to work on a mean reversion back towards, actually went past the, what I'm calling the, if this is the, it's not the all-time high, but this is like the significant high, and then the all-time low. And the halfway between the two is this $2.19 level. Well, it wicked through it twice and then came back down to test a higher low. And so we're underneath my moving average 75. But I think from here, there's a very good chance of an impulsive wave, 5-wave move from this low to this high to this higher low. Gives me these linear scale fibs, which take it to the 238 $6.38, and you can kind of see that's what it's trying to do is over time make its way back to the moving average 300 up here, which is kind of coming down to intercept at about 638. So that's my confluence on that. Yeah, that's 728% higher from where price is right now. So yeah, it's another high risk, high reward play that I'm in, and it's been painful to hold, but I think it'll pay off. That's game. Let's see. Let's see. I just did Cipher, right? Oh, I'm going to do AMD and Nvidia, and then ask Matt for his all we call it semi-conductors, SMR, SML,
SMH.
Thank you, SMH. Couldn't brain not working to get all the letters. AMD. Here's the whole AMD chart. Yeah, from this all-time high. Yeah, I can almost have to do it on monthly. It's got so much history, right? Yeah, from its all-time low to all-time high, right back to the 50% fib level, once, twice, 3, 4 times, and then it breaks out from being a lower type A stock to finally being a type S stock up here above the 100% fib, and it's just making what looks to me like an ending diagonal. Maybe it approaches this. Let me turn these the prices. I want to see the prices. Here we go. Maybe it approaches 305 in the end and falls just short of it, and then has to fall back over to retest down here. But it looks really good. Let's look at a lower time scale. Sorry. Let's do this. I'm going to do a linear scale fib projection from this low to this high. I'll just have to do it manually to this low right here. And yeah, it looks like I went to the 618. It could go 618382. Let's see what that looked like from here. 618382 would get it right back to the moving average 75 here. To the 1382, to the 100, to the 2382. So yeah, it looks like it could go to 492. Wow, that's crazy. And crazy good. Let's see, from our prices right now at 164. That's 91% in price improvement to the to 317.76. I'm sorry, I left all that in the way. And then 200% improvement to get to the 2382 up here at 492.31. But before it does that, it could, let me get this out of the way again. It could come back and test 143. So from 164 now, it would drop up about $20, right to about maybe really fast to touch this moving average 75. I'm sorry, my charts get so small. Here, I'm trying to make it bigger so you guys can see a little bit better. See, it's going to come down to the moving average 75 right here, maybe, or catch it just shy of it. Anyway, there you go. And then Nvidia. So look, it's a very similar setup. How the moving average 75 has come off the moving average 300, and it's getting kind of far away from it in a good way. I guess I should put Ichimoku back on. Yeah, it's lost the conversion line. It wicked through the baseline. That's it feels kind of toppy when you see that. Price is back over the baseline. Gosh, it's so hard to say. It could continue to run. Maybe it does continue to run to $200.91. The 886 here. Well, no. Oh, it's below the 707. So this is it. If 177 is resistance, then it sends it back to the 618. But if it or a portion of it again. But if it can get over 177.05 and make it support, then it could go back to 187 and then the 886 perhaps. So anyway, how about you, Matt? What is the SMH telling you?
Not much. I mean, it's just on the weekly time frame. It's basically going back to the conversion line here. So what we can see maybe as a potential is a little bit deeper down to these previous levels here, maybe from the 275, maybe even down to this zone here where it was like a previous resistance and a breakout, which is like the 260s. So it is getting a little bit overextended from a lot of things there. So I wouldn't expect any big continuation higher, but I can still see more continued consolidation, continued weakness until a back test is completed. So that's kind of what I'm watching, the 270s down to the 260s currently for a potential back test there.
Yeah, if it takes long enough to fall there, then it could touch it. It could touch your horizontal line just as the moving average 50 catches up to it.
Yeah, it's possible. So we'll see. I mean, it's just across the board. Things just want to continue to consolidate until ready to go higher. But that's understandable because there was a massive run. And I saw a comment like, tell us that the bear market is upon us. I mean, how can this be a bear market when you just see a chart that's just consolidating sideways right now? It hasn't even really formed any kind of higher low yet, right?
Yeah,
So
I
I
don't mean
just
to be.
don't.
I don't mean to be mean, but it's like if you buy at the top and then
Yeah,
you're riding your position down, then it feels like a bear market. But just don't
yeah,
buy at the resistance, and it
yeah.
won't be a bear market to you.
Like SPY weekly chart, look at it. It hasn't even done a higher low yet since this gigantic run up. So I don't even understand how people can call a bear market when there is no higher low, right? There is no higher low. Even the QQQ, still no higher low, right? Still no higher low. And all while IWM is trying to establish a base on top of the 786. So none of that is screaming bear market at all. If anything, what's screaming bear market to me is maybe gold is looking like distribution, right? It still is getting stuck under this 3335, the 2.618 fib. Look at all these wicks. This is screaming distribution to me, right? This is something that I'm cautious with, which is actually more bullish for equities, right? So I just don't understand that. Like we don't have this kind of formation on any of our other charts, but we do have this formation right now on gold. Long wicks up top, that's a lot of selling pressure and can't break above a level. That's a lot of selling pressure. So there we go. I mean, yes, it's above it now, but it's done it the whole past 4 months in a row. So this is caution to me. Nothing else is showing caution to me. So with that, let's go to ONDS. ONDS on the weekly chart is at resistance. It hit resistance multiple weeks in a row. 402, can't get above it. It might need to go back down to back test support, maybe 254, maybe 288 in that zone, maybe even the cloud 2 back in the low 2s. Who knows, right? But this is resistance. It's not the time to be overly bullish. It's time to be cautious. It's the time to be bullish was actually before the breakout, right? We saw it break above the cloud, build a base on top of the cloud, even wick through it that 1 week, and that set the stage for the explosion higher, right? It was a little mini breakout of the cloud. That is technically a breakout, right, with more resistance above, but it built a base and went higher. But now it's at another resistance level, and it cannot get more bullish until it breaks above that zone. And let's take a look at SoundHound as well. We can see that Sound is going back down towards the $13 level, but or $12 level. Let's go back to this chart. And what I see the most is it hit resistance, right? It hit the top of the cloud. It hit this angle right here, which was a resistance before, right there. Was a resistance before down here. This green angle right here, right? That was kind of our key to be a little bit cautious. But what is it doing? It's actually going back down to the arc and the baseline. So it's actually trying to just be a mini little breakout of the arc and going back to back test it. So it does have potential to show stability right here around the 1180, that's the baseline, and around the 1215 or so, that's the arc there. So that is what I'm looking at. But ideally, I would love to see a weekly candle close above this 1293 to have like a real kind of breakout back test and stabilization above all that. So it's in a support zone right now, right now, down towards the 1180s. Tracker, why don't you just finish it off because I gotta do some other stuff here.
Sure, no problem at all. I wanted to show ONDS holding again because there's something really interesting that I noticed here, which is that you can see. Let me try to make this bigger. It had the cup and then handle formation, but the handle is kind of, instead of cupping down, they go up and over. This is really a bullish move. When you see the arcs go up and over, these are, obviously there's very bullish moves. I do expect to see another cup here, maybe back to 248 one more time would be perfect. It doesn't have to go there. It could just decide to make this wick the support because it was wick. Maybe my center pivot's in the wrong place. Maybe my center pivot should just be a little higher right here, about $2.67. So I would say, yeah, look out for 267. 267 is a potential support here. And so it dips through 267 and then up to 570. It's trying, the 618 is resistance, so it's going to have to test supports and then get some momentum to get over that 618 at $4.03. That's my thinking on ONDS here. Matt did sound, Matt did XRP. GM means good morning. TLI? Is that a stock?
No, it's not. They're talking. It's about the long investor.
Oh, not the long investor. Sorry. CPSH. I've done this one. No, but it looks pretty. Oh wow. Okay, this is what I call a cyclical stock, right? Because it just kind of runs up and down across. There's a center point here that we could find really quickly by, let's say, the beginning. It's not really the all-time high. Yeah, let's do the all-time high. Let's do the all-time high and a look back. So I'll bet that'll give us our halfway point. Right to there, and then turn this on. Yeah, very clearly that's your center point at $1.94. We're at $3.10 now after coming up from the center pivot. So how high could it go? It could be at resistance now at 370. It hit 370 already right here, right? Monthly. Let's go to the 16-hour chart. Yeah, it approached 618 and got kicked off again. I'd say if it can find support off of, pull up a 16-hour chart, put on the moving average 75. If it continues, if it finds support again as moving average 75 moves up, if it hits at the bottom again, then maybe it can get over the 618. So then you get a touch of 370. And then after that, it's a matter of looking at this set of fibs from, let's just do a journey, right? We'll do a journey from, this is the lowest one I can see on my screen, to the 702. And of course, I did it backwards. Dang it. No. Let me just undo it. Sorry. And then I'm going to let Matt go right after I finish holding him hostage to this. And I've got a setup where it just makes it numbers on the right. There we go. So here's your journey. Oh, look at that. So halfway between here and the 702 is $2.70, which looks like a good place for it to touch the moving average 75. So maybe it drops down a quick fast wick to 270. And then let's see if we can get over 324 and then over 370. And then if it falls short, if the whole thing falls short, I'd say it would probably fall short at 491. and then look for it to test back to the 75 part again. So something like this. No, let's do it from here. Yeah, I like that. So look for this as a possibility, but the whole thing fails if it can't get over 324 again. And then you do go back to the center pivot again. And if that can't hold, then you oscillate underneath again because this thing is cyclical. It's on basically a very slow uptrend, but it's very slow. All right, that's it. And we will. What is it? Today's Thursday, right? So we'll see you guys tomorrow.
Yeah. See you guys tomorrow. Have a good one, guys. Thank you.
Have a good day, Matt.
Bye.